a playlist original.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Back to the Blockbuster with your hosts, Gaius and Jackson. And take it from us, be careful what you wish for after, I guess, months, feels like weeks, but months of lamenting over the lack of industry news, what with the strikes and whatnot. We have an absolute shower of news over the last week to give to you guys today. So we got some stuff to rapid fire at you. It's going to be a dense episode, which is a good thing, not to sound complainy. But we have been kept busy over here during the last week and excited to bring you guys some industry news after months of a little bit of taking a step back. It's great. We got a full episode ahead.
Yeah, we had like a little bit of a lull because of the strikes. And as you know, we pivoted a lot with like limited series and kind of grabbing whatever news we could find. And then we recorded our weekly news recap last week, and that went well. It wasn't a ton of news, but it was enough to
did what we could with it.
Wet the whistle, I guess.
Yeah. And then, oh boy.
And then like the next day, or I think it felt like the next day, it was just like the beginning of this news started. And then I sent Jackson I think 4 stories in a row that I posted on G Reels. I was like, well, we have a lot to talk about next week. And that was only like 3 or 4 stories. And then after that, it just
piled on. Yeah, snowballed, exactly.
It's like, it's award season, and then all these movies got announced, and all these a megastar decided a big deal with a major studio, and
there's scandals in here too.
There's scandal. There's
everything.
There's suddenly a $200 million budget is going back to basics. There's a lot going on.
Yes, we're excited to bring it to you guys.
So I guess we're gonna get right into it.
Yes, lead us off. I know we had some nominations come out for various award seasons. Now the Globes are behind us. The Emmys are tonight as of recording, but we got some nominations from a few different guilds. So yeah, fill us in.
Yeah, let me. I'm pulling it up right now. So I'm just gonna. I'm gonna start with the DGA because I was really, I was really interested who was gonna make the 5 in the Directors Guild. So who we got for the 76th annual DGA Awards for Best Director? It's Barbie's Greta Gerwig, Oppenheimer's Christopher Nolan, Poor Things Yorgos Lanthimos, Killers of the Flower Moon's Martin Scorsese, and The Holdovers Alexander Payne.
Nice for Alexander Payne to sneak in there.
Yes, so they're up for the top prize. And then also for first time feature nominees, it's Core Jepsen for American Fiction, Manuela Martinelli for Chile 76, Nora Nazarati for Shadia, and A.V. Rockwell for 1001, and Celine Song for Past Lives.
Nice.
So how important are these DJ awards? Just to let you know, last year's film nominees were Everything All at Once directors Daniel Kwan and Daniel, the 2 Daniels, by the way, Tar director Todd Field, Maverick director Joseph Kosinski, the Banshees of Inisherin director Martin McDonough, and The Fableman Steven Spielberg. The only person that missed Best Director at the Oscars was Joseph Kosinski from this group, who the director of Triangle of Sadness ended up in the 5 for Oscars. So It is a pretty close, because they're kind of those voting bodies are a little similar. So this could end up being your 5 Oscar nominees for Best Director. I'm guessing. My feeling when I saw it is that the one wild card here was Alexander Payne, because I thought
I agree too.
Because some thought the upset was Bradley Cooper missing it for Maestro.
I think he's thinking that right now. I know he really wants.
I know he's still the enemy of award season. Apparently, everyone's.
I guess so. You just gotta not want it so bad, and then it'll come to you. It's one of those weird things, but yeah.
I'm actually. This looks like, other than maybe Bradley Cooper being there, this kind of looks like the 5 I thought.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were talking about the Holdovers, we were like, what are Alexander Payne's chances in that category? And we kind of were on the fence about it because we both liked the movie, but we just thought it was like a really packed year for directors, and like it would be hard to get in. But
I'd say the first 4 are like etched in stone. Like I think anyone could have guessed those people were going to be nominated. Makes total sense. And then Alexander Payne definitely would have been on my list of like potential 5ths. So I'm not surprised to hear he's on there. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is the reason I think like these guilds nominations relate to the Oscars so much because they're made up of Academy voters, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
and,
some of them are. Yeah, and then so directors. like because in the Academy, like directors will vote for in the directing category, producers will vote, and so actors vote for actors, like all that stuff. So that's why it could be very similar. And actually, Oscar voting I think ended today or tomorrow as of this recording.
Nice. Nominations in a couple weeks, or a week.
Yeah. So this so that's why the correlation is like pretty close. Like the only person that missed it last year was Top Gun Maverick's director is shows you how close they actually are. I'm okay with this 5 though. I still haven't seen Poor Things. That's the only person's movie on this list I haven't seen yet.
Yeah,
and
I have yet to see a few, but Poor Things I'm desperately trying to see. I don't know if it's going to come my way over here in New Brunswick, which is unfortunate, but definitely going to see it before its undoubted Oscar campaign.
Yeah. It's good to see Greta Gerwig there. I mean, hey, this happens every year. A lot of people, I follow a few, women and are either in our Hollywood Creative Alliance or just other journalists who named off a few women that could have made the cut too, who made really good movies. And Celine Song is one that they really wanted in this list. She is on the first time directors nominations, which I think is also a good thing. But Past Lives has been part of this conversation for so long. I mean, they A24 started that campaign like a long time ago, and it's been like this kind of like little engine that could during award season. But I still think it's just a competitive year, and
exactly.
There were some people that thought Greta Gerwig could miss this list, and I was like, oh, she did. They're gonna riot.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, she made a good movie. I mean, more than good movie. And if she didn't make the list, it would have been pretty disappointing. Just adding to the whole old white men only making the cut. So there you go. But if I had to guess, just off the top of my head right now, who's taking it, who I think will take it all the way to the Oscars, it's Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I agree.
I would love to see it. I know you would love to see it.
Certainly, he's overdue.
So hopefully, and then the other guilds that we can talk about that also kind of relate to the Oscars in some fashion. The PGA, which is like the Producers Guild of America Awards, their nominees for best picture are American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, The Zone of Interest, Past Lives, and Poor Things as well.
Okay, so they have 9 nominations. I wasn't sure how many they put down. Okay, that's a healthy list right there. That's a lot of actually really happy to see Zone of Interest, Jonathan Glazer's movie from last year, get in there. I have not seen that. That is one of my imminent watches. So very excited for that movie to sneak in there. I think it's going to be nominated for foreign language as well. It has in some other award shows.
Yeah, and you watched Anatomy of a Fall. I saw that you graded it on Letterboxd.
Yeah. And I just realized that Sandra Hüller stars in both of those movies. I didn't know that until yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed that movie, and I thought she was great.
Zone of Interest or Anatomy of a Fall?
Yeah, Anatomy of a Fall.
Okay.
Yeah, I really liked
incredible. It. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Everywhere around everyone shone in that movie, but I think was a standout performance. But very happy with that one.
And by the way, I just watched American Fiction as well. I haven't shouted it out enough. It's really good. It's really funny. I really enjoyed it. It's crazy how it's not in many theaters right now. I have a screener for it. I think it's only made like $5 million domestic.
Really?
Okay. It's a really small movie, but it's incredibly funny, and the cast is really great, and Jeffrey Wright is amazing in it. I'm still finalizing top 10. It might make it. I don't know yet.
Okay. Nice.
I might. We'll see.
I will be excited to get my hands on that when I can. Jeffrey Wright, I've always loved him. I'm excited to see him in like a real leading role performance. I've seen him in a couple leads before, but this seems like really his time to shine. So good for him.
And last year the PGA honored Everything Everywhere All at Once, which took home the Oscar 2 weeks later. So this is a good indication of who wins it. They might take it home at the Academy Awards, and depending on how many movies they choose to nominate at the Oscars, because they can do up to 10. This could be our list as well. So I don't. Some people thought the list was boring. I thought it was like, well, this kind of that was pretty much are the movies that people have been talking about all of 2023 as like some of their favorites, and then like we said, like Past Lives made it in there too. I think Past Lives will probably, depending on how many they pick, I still think it might squeeze in an Oscar nomination for Best Picture,
right?
Because people have been championing for it for a very, very long time. So, what are your thoughts on that list of movies?
I think it's going to be a carbon copy of the Oscars nominations list, pretty much. Yep. Wouldn't be surprised if any of those don't make it. What about SAG? What nominations did we get?
All right, SAG nominations. So, best cast ensemble is American Fiction, The Color Purple, which kind of boosted its Academy Award chances as well, but it didn't make PGA, so there's that as well. Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Killers of the Flower Moon. There is a lot of debate because there is like a quota for how many the SAG ensemble can actually award for this award. A lot of people were upset because the majority of the white cast in Killers of the Flower Moon, if they win, would win that ensemble award, and some of the indigenous cast members would not, because they don't qualify for in the credits how they need to qualify for the SAG award, which a lot of people think they should change that. I also heard that I always forget how to pronounce his last name, but he was Han Solo. He's in Oppenheimer. Alden
Ehrenreich, I think.
Yeah, I think he just misses the cut in Oppenheimer to be part of the cast ensemble, even though he's in, like, it's not like he's in a lot of the movie, but I thought
he bookends it nicely,
to warrant that. So and then when I saw them at the Critics' Choice Awards with it, because they won cast ensemble there, it seems like he's a considered a big part of that cast, and like a big they all get along really well too. So I don't know, the amount of screen time he had, I would think that he would be able to be considered for the cast ensemble award, but I guess not. I mean, it's a pretty big cast, so they can't give it to everyone.
Exactly.
If they were to win. I was rooting. I thought Barbie could win this award just because it's a fun ensemble cast movie,
right?
But I'm thinking Oppenheimer's going to take this one too.
Okay.
That's just my thoughts on that. And then best female lead actor, female actor in a leading role: Emma Stone, Poor Things; Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon; net bidding for the Naiad, that's a swimming movie that keeps popping up; Carey Mulligan for Maestro; and Margot Robbie for Barbie. Pretty much in line with what you thought. And that bidding being the wild card. A lot of people wanted Sandra Hüller from Anatomy of a Fall.
About to say that. Yeah, for sure.
And then skipping TV. Female actor in a supporting role: Danielle Brooks, The Color Purple; Divine Joy Randolph, The Holdovers; Emily Blunt, Oppenheimer; Jodie Foster, the same swimming movie; and Penelope Cruz for Ferrari. So I was talking to you because I said, you liked it more than I did. But I did say I'm so surprised that she hasn't been a part of that conversation during the award season, because she is really good in it. She's extremely good. Like, she's probably one of my favorite things about the movie, if I had to name
it's a scene-stealing performance. When she's on screen, you're watching her for sure. Even that's it's like a good Adam Driver performance.
Right. And she the Academy loves her, actors love her, so that's why they think that she got in. She could take that 5th spot too on Oscar nomination day in that category. It's a toss-up between her. America Ferrera is another one that could take that spot for Barbie. She has a really good big monologue in that movie that people love. But Divine Joy Randolph has won pretty much everything.
In the support.
I think she is taking it. And then male actor in a leading role: Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers; Bradley Cooper, Maestro; Coleman Domingo, Rustin; Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer; Jeffrey Wright, American Fiction. I can mix in, to make it easier, to mix in what happened here and with the Critics' Choice Awards last night.
I think it's down to 2 for sure.
Paul Giamatti won lead actor last night from Critics' Choice. Now at the Golden Globes, Cillian Murphy won Best Actor Drama, and then he won Best Actor in Musical Comedy.
Right, so they weren't competing.
So they weren't competing, and now I think so many people don't think it's definitely. They've already count Bradley Cooper out. I felt like he was in the mix, and then now they're like, no, I think it's between these two guys now.
Right.
And what's crazy is that they're both deserving, and they have put in a lot of work over the years, and it would be nice to see either one of them win. I really don't know who I personally are rooting for more, because I actually like both actors and I like both performances, and it's hard.
It's hard to choose. I think Paul Giamatti is more overdue than Cillian Murphy. I think like Paul's had more shots at the title than Cillian has had, and this is really Cillian's first big moment. I think he'll have more Oscar-worthy performances in him than Paul Giamatti will, just considering their age and longevity
Yeah.
and whatnot. So like, it's either of theirs to lose, but like I would have to give a slight edge to Paul. I think I want Cillian to win because like I'm biased towards Oppenheimer. But regardless, whoever's name is called, it makes no difference to me. I'm excited for either of them. I think it'll be down to either of them, though. I don't think
I think it's down to them too
have a
as
chance.
well. And let's see, male actor in a supporting role nominations: Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon; Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer; Willem Dafoe, Poor Things; Sterling K. Brown, American Fiction; Ryan Gosling, Barbie. Robert Downey Jr. has been winning a lot of the major ones lately, and I kind of think this is he won the Critics' Choice for Best Supporting Actor last night. Gave a really funny speech reading his past bad reviews from critics for his acceptance speech. I thought was really, really funny. And like I think he's long overdue too. I mean, when you think about like he went through a lot. I mean, he was as you probably know, he got in a lot of trouble, a lot of trouble back in the day. He was crazy addicted to drugs, and it nearly ruined his entire career. And then he, rebounded from that and got clean, and now he's one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. And I think they want to award him now at this point.
Yeah, when you think about it, though, like I'm just thinking about this now, his comeback started 16 years ago, 17 if you consider Zodiac in 2007. Like I think he's behind that drama and controversy. Like the guys, give him all the awards that he earns, but like I kind of can't help but feel like that side of his career is like so far in the past at this point that it's like funny that it's brought up.
I think you're like, you don't want to make that the story. Like, you know how like everyone has like their Oscar story. Like, hey, like last year it was Brendan Fraser, and like, hey, like look at this guy. Look at that that was a comeback actually. That felt like a true comeback. Robert Downey. I mean, he's been nominated 3 times. Oh, it will be 3 if he gets nominated for Oppenheimer. He was nominated for playing Charlie Chaplin in the early '90s, and he was nominated for Tropic Thunder. So it's not like it's not like he hasn't been here before. And you're right. But I think the fact that he could win is what people are latching onto as like, oh, finally he could win.
And I hope he does.
But I hope he does too. And I actually agree with you on that though. Like, his comeback story started a long time ago.
I think it's time to get over that.
And honestly, he has starred in several box office hits, most of them courtesy of Marvel. But if you want to count the Sherlock Holmes movies too, those made a lot of money as well. He's been able to do big blockbusters while also doing projects like that are a little bit smaller that show off his. Actually, I thought it was interesting though. They did that actors roundtable thing, and he said some of his best work that he thinks he's done has been in those Marvel movies, but he doesn't think that they get that acknowledgement because of the type of movies that they are. And I thought that was really big of him to say that, because he easily been like, no, they're just paycheck, big budget movies. And he was like, no, actually, if you watch the character work in it, it is some of his best work, probably, overall as an actor, because you actually see an evolution there with, how he started as Tony Stark and where he ends up. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's like, I don't want to call it a comeback story. It's like, he's been here so long. It's just, you just like, you find you deserve it. You deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you deserve it you worked with a great director that brought not even the best out of you. You've always been good. So I don't even know how to label it. I mean, he just should win because
he's an anomaly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And then let's skip here. Skip. Sorry, there's like a bunch of TV stuff. And then actually, I want to mention the whole leading actress thing too, because it happened last night where Lily Gladstone was nominated for a Critics' Choice, and so was Emma Stone. Emma Stone won. Lily Gladstone has been winning a lot of precursors leading up to the Oscars, and now they think it's down to those 2 girls as well. I mean, Carey Mulligan's been getting good reviews for Maestro, and like, but I think it, like in the case of like lead actor with Paul Giamatti and Cillian Murphy, I think it's down to Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone. And they mirror each other too. One of them won Best Actress Drama at the Globes last week. The other one won Best Actress Musical Comedy. Same thing with Giamatti and Murphy. So what we're saying is, I don't even know for those 2 categories who I would fill in for my Oscar ballot as it got closer. So like if you're having an Oscar party and you are trying to figure out like who you should vote for as the winner, I don't know, because if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have easily picked one person over the other in both those categories. I would
Mhm.
have picked Lily Gladstone, and I would have picked Cillian Murphy without even questioning it. And now, I don't know.
Time will tell. I know. I'm interested to see what my prediction is too. I think I need to see Poor Things first. Like I'm a little, out of the loop there. I've seen Lily Gladstone's performance. We're in the same boat there, but not having seen
Yeah.
Emma Stone. So I don't really have a dog in that fight yet. But
And she's great in Killers of the Flower Moon. I mean, it's like she does some really understated work, but then she has some pretty good emotional moments too that I thought were
very
really
much
good.
so.
Like,
Yeah.
This one person on Twitter today was like, I wish she would have gone supporting so that Emma and her could win. Because I wonder if Lily Gladstone wasn't supporting, it would be more of a race between her and Divine Joy Randolph. It would be a guarantee. But we had a debate on here whether or not her performance is supporting or if it's a lead. She is the female lead, but is she supporting the male lead actor in the movie? So yeah, I mean, Viola Davis did it when she did Fences. Like she was clearly the female lead opposite Denzel, but she went supporting and she won in that category.
Right.
So I don't know. Either would be great. People love Emma Stone, and then people have been praising Lily Gladstone. A lot of people being like, hey, she's in other movies that you need to look up to that she's great in. So like a lot of people are just discovering her for the first time or rediscovering her. And then Emma Stone is just like she's a likable, movie star, and she's a great actress on top of that. So you won't go wrong either way.
I don't think so.
And then just rattle off other ones. Christopher Nolan won Best Director last night at the Critics' Choice Awards.
Yep. No shocker there.
Oppenheimer won Best Picture. Barbie won Best Original Screenplay. There was a big debate because some of these weren't even televised. Like Best Original Screenplay wasn't. A lot of the technical awards weren't televised. Barbie won Best Comedy. That wasn't televised, but Chelsea Handler, who hosted the show, because they had time left, was like, hey, like you guys come up here and accept your Best Comedy award, like on stage, on television, like you should.
Right.
And so Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie got to kind of shout out, Barbie again and just thanking everyone for supporting it. And America Ferrera they gave her the See Her Award, which is like for representation for women and girls in movies.
Okay.
This one guy who is actually he's an Academy voter on that I follow. He was like, there were a lot of Oscar voters in that audience, and her speech was so good that they were like, if she got to them with that speech, they could actually make her enter that 5. Like she could maybe knock out Penelope Cruz or whatever. It's like, it's weird. It's because it's a good performance, right? But it's a performance that's built on what should be nominated for would be one scene, and it's that monologue that she has about how women are viewed and treated in society and all that. It's really well written and it's really well delivered. Like she delivers it. Like I remember when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, if it's a weak field, I think she can get in. Not to like discredit her talent, but it's not as showy as the other performances are. So we'll see. But yeah, he was like, yeah, there were a lot of people in that room that were voting, and they're not done voting yet. If they loved her speech, they could have just changed right there to get her in. So we shall see. But I think that was all. And then Oppenheimer won a bunch of technical awards as well, like editing,
of course,
soundtrack,
right?
Score,
rather. It's score.
I'm Just Kidding won Best Original Song. So there, I mean,
okay, nice.
So cool. Every time they kept cutting to Ryan Gosling, and they're like, man, every time they cut to him, he's like, I'm gonna really have to perform this at the Oscars, aren't I? I don't think he like fully realizes that he might have to, but it'll be fun. He seems like I think he enjoys playing that character. He really enjoyed doing the movie, so I don't think he'll shy away from doing it if they want him to do it.
The guy's a performer.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the entire awards roundup that I can kind of think of.
Okay. Well, we got some rapid fire too with the looking at the list here of stuff we got to get through. So I'll start here with into some other news here. Fans of the Star Wars show The Mandalorian will be excited to know that supposedly there is a movie in development called The Mandalorian and Grogu. Don't know who came up with that name, but there's some lack of creativity there majorly. Jon
Maybe
Favreau
they'll change it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. That sounds like what they should a working title, exactly. Like, come on. But currently, Jon Favreau, big Star Wars director, and even outside of the Star Wars universe, fantastic director, is sitting in the director's chair right now. What are your quick thoughts on that?
I think we talked a long time ago, back when you, I think, first hopped on here, which we'll reminisce on another episode. But the Star Wars has worked really well, like on streaming TV. Like the last few movies weren't that great for me, but I actually, at least I haven't watched like all of the Mandalorian, but what I've watched, I've enjoyed. I actually like the Obi-Wan. I actually finished the Obi-Wan series too. I like that. It's more consistent so far on streaming than they have been on the big screen lately. Right. So that I actually I felt good about it in that regard. But then I was like, I hope this isn't just going to be some kind of like almost like long TV episode that's like adapted for film. And that was like kind of concerned with it. And I also thought it was interesting that, because they always like announce Star Wars projects and then cancel them and then announce them and then cancel them.
Right.
But they said that the Mandalorian Grogu will lead Lucasfilm's ongoing film development slate. So that'll be the first one we get. And we're going to get other projects directed by Dave Filoni and James Mangold as well. And that it's going into production later this year. I'll
believe it when I see it.
Yeah, but I mean, it seemed like good news for Star Wars fans. They seem pretty stoked that like this is the one that's going to go to the big screen. I'm a Star Wars fan in the sense that Empire Strikes Back is one of my favorite movies, but I'm not a diehard Star Wars fan.
I'm in the same boat. I love the original trilogy. The prequels have aged well, I think. Almost everything outside of that I don't care about at all. And the trajectory of Star Wars over the last few years, I'm at this point where like it's dug so deep a hole of itself, like I don't even know if it can come back under its current leadership. So like this didn't really mean anything for me, this news. I know I'm assuming you didn't get to season 3 of Mandalorian. Is that where you tapered off?
Yeah, that's where I tapered off. And then I was looking at like Twitter, everyone was like, oh, it went so woke. But that's not why I'm not watching it. But I was like, that's not
no, but like regardless, massive ratings dip and quality dip in that show. Even like I think the seeds of that were sown in season 2. So just to help that argument. But I think a movie, though, regardless of what I think of Star Wars, I think a movie is a bet. Like I think the first couple seasons of The Mandalorian work. I do think a movie treatment is something that would be good to get audience, to culminate like good favor with Star Wars fans. I think people are a fan of the Mandalorian character. And Grogu too is obviously, I mean, no secret he's a big marketing ploy for Star Wars, but I think that relationship is something that is good to be explored on the big screen. So I think it's a good move. Whether or not it's going to pan out and be a good movie, I think remains to be seen. I don't think that those characters alone necessarily equal a good movie, but we'll see. I think Jon Favreau is a good person to make that movie.
That is what I feel confident about, is that they got him at least, and
he made the good season of that show. It tapered off when he left the director's chair for the show.
Loves the IP, so like there's that, and then him and Dave Filoni together as like a creative team is really good as well.
Yeah, Dave Filoni also loves and cares for the IP and does what he can to to make it work. He's a little bit hindered.
I know some people that saw that Kathleen Kennedy is still like, she's still the head of that, and she's not going anywhere, guys. So
well,
really okay.
We're gonna get on that in our next episode, and I actually have a point to bring up about that. But for now, she is currently the head of Lucasfilm, overseeing that project and a couple other ones that we haven't talked about yet. And I don't think they're slated to talk about today, but I'm sure in the future there are Star Wars movies in development that we will no doubt cover. But so fans of The Mandalorian, you guys got some good news, and like you said, it's slated to start
going to production soon,
this year.
And that'll be the first movie we get, and which is so crazy because like they announced so many other ones in the past, right? Like Taika Waititi had one, Kevin Feige had one at one point, Patty Jenkins had one at one point. They all, I think Taika's is still in development, but Kevin Feige's is done. Patty Jenkins is done. There's been so many. The guys from Game of Thrones guys, they had one.
Their show concept or their movie trilogy concept was awesome. It's something that I would like.
Yeah, I actually liked the idea that they finally, when they said it, I think there's a news because they were promoting a Netflix show that they're doing.
Right.
And I was like, and he said they weren't interested in going in that direction. I was like, of course, the most interesting direction to go in. They were like, no, we don't want to do that.
I know. Who cares about honestly, like the Skywalker saga has been done to death at this point. Their planned trilogy would have focused on the very first Jedi. Like that is so awesome. Like I definitely wish that had have panned out. And I mean, I secretly don't care because they ruined Game of Thrones to make that series and then it blew up in their face. So fuck them. But that story, regardless of who helms it, I think would be a good direction for Star Wars to go. I don't think there's more to tell in the Skywalker saga, but anyway, conversation for another day. What is up next?
It looks like we got, well, we got a Tom Cruise story with layers.
Yeah.
And so he signed I originally thought that he had an exclusive deal with Paramount. I guess he doesn't. He doesn't have an exclusive deal with anyone. That's how big of an actor he is. Like he can just
Tom Cruise does what he wants.
Yeah. So, but he's made the last few of his movies with Paramount. I mean, they've done the Top Gun movies together and the Mission Impossible movies together. But he signed a deal with Warner Brothers to produce original and franchise films that he will also star in. It's not the first time that he's worked with Warner Brothers. He had done The Edge of Tomorrow, and then also Rock of Ages, The Last Samurai, Magnolia, Eyes Wide Shut, Interview with the Vampire, Risky Business, and The Outsiders were all with Warner Brothers.
Okay.
So I thought this signaled like, he must be not happy with Paramount. But then like a day or two later, they said that Top Gun 3 is in development at Paramount.
Oh my god!
And that they're actively writing it, and he's a part of it. And it might. And they're saying there's directions where they could focus on Glenn Powell's characters more and Miles Teller's characters more, and maybe Tom Cruise isn't so much the lead.
Okay.
But what I gathered from this is he also has that outer space movie he's going to do with Universal.
I was going to ask what studio's doing that because that's what Doug Liman directing, right?
It's doing that movie. Yeah, and Tom Cruise, I'm not even trying to sound ageist. I'm just saying like he's 61, so I'm guessing he has a lot. I don't know when the stuff kicks in. I mean, you signed like one deal, and then he's still finishing up Mission Impossible 8. I really thought that maybe he was upset with their rollout for 7 and that he wanted to jump ship and go somewhere else because he was really upset with how they like kind of released it. And you remember the whole thing of the IMAX screens. But if he's doing Top Gun 3 with Paramount, then maybe he doesn't have a bad working relationship with them. And again, that's not like he hasn't confirmed that he's doing Top Gun 3. It's just
this is a rumor.
It was a rumor, but then all the trades picked it up. Hollywood Reporter picked it up. Variety. Hollywood Reporter said that the movie actually has been in development since last fall, and that.
Which
and
makes sense.
And it feels like they kind of like almost wanted to announce this after the Warner Brothers stuff, Paramount, to be like, well, we also have him for this.
Right.
And either way, we don't know. We don't know when his deal, they say he's going to start as soon as possible with Warner Brothers, but he's also busy. I'm busy just doing a lot of stuff. I know one of the things they want him to do is Edge of Tomorrow too. That's what Warner Brothers really wants him to focus on. I would love for him because some of those movies in that list, Magnolia, Interview with the Vampire, that's when he used to like really like act, and not
right.
He wasn't just a glorified action star. I would love for him to do original films that weren't like franchise movies, and he actually like pushed himself as an actor again, and give us another Collateral or something. That kind of performance. But what do you think about him having? I mean, I'll just say this. I think this proves that he is the biggest movie star in Hollywood, though, to have this kind of deal and to have it not be an exclusive deal where they were like, "Hey, you're just working with us." Right. That he can be like that. He can go in there and be like, "Hey, I'll work with you, but I'm also going to work with them and anyone else I want to work with." So that's a good thing. But it just seems like a lot on his plate, and I don't know when all this stuff is going to get done. I guess.
I think he just lined up like a decade's worth of work for him because especially that Doug Liman movie where he's filming in space has been talked about for 2 or 3 years now. We haven't seen anything about that. That's still in production. Another Top Gun movie would take a couple of years probably to make. This original movies with Warner Brothers, like that's a lot of work over a lot of years, and you only got so much time. I don't actually, as much as I love the original Top Gun. I like Top Gun Maverick even more, and it sounds like counterintuitive to say, but like I don't want another Top Gun story, at least not this.
I don't either.
It's clearly such a
it ended so well to like it wrapped up that story.
It's a financial movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They wrapped up the story great. Like, I feel like you're just jeopardizing the story going forward. It's only made because Top Gun 2 was the highest
Like
grossing movie of the
$1.5
year.
billion. Yeah.
So it's just so, and like contrasting that to Top Gun Maverick, which took 36 years in between movies.
Yeah.
Like, and that they clearly waited for an actual story to unveil itself and took the time to tell it.
Worth it.
And it worked beautifully. With it went out. There's not a bad thing you can say about that movie. I just think they are opening Pandora's box with this, and it's just so clearly motivated by finances, which is the nature of the industry. It's no secret, but it's still like annoying to see. So I'm not like happy about that news by any means. I like that Warner Brothers original movies deal that he signed. That's great.
And by the way, Warner Brothers needs good news. So like when I heard that he did this, I was like, Warner Brothers has like been so sloppy under David Zaslav. So I was like, this is at least smart. If you're gonna get in line with one of the biggest movie stars in the world, and like
good
that's
move,
smart.
For sure.
And like, you know, he is someone that cares about the movie making process and putting out a good product. So that was a step in the right direction. They actually have 2 steps in the right direction for the news that we're talking about, because they're part of another project too that's on our list. But like I thought that was good news for them, and I thought it was good news for Tom Cruise. I thought maybe, but like I said, I thought it signaled like a bad blood thing with Paramount, and that he was thinking of like entertaining, like, hey, court me somewhere else, that kind of thing. Like maybe doing like a Christopher Nolan or something. Like, hey, I felt at home here, now I want to try somewhere else. But
was it Paramount that Paramount did Oppenheimer as well, right?
No, they did. Universal did.
Universal did. Okay. Well, yeah, which might make sense. Because he was definitely pissed about Paramount's scheduling of the IMAX theaters and giving it to Oppenheimer. So that might make sense that there's a falling out there. Pun there for Mission Impossible fans. But yeah, that could make sense. I don't know why I can never remember what studio made Oppenheimer. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna get it down pat eventually.
And I also don't want to. I don't want Top Gun 3. I guess the only way I would accept it is if like he wasn't in it. I mean, I don't even know. Like, if you're just going to focus on Miles Teller and Glenn Powell, if you're going to spin it off, I guess, I don't know. That seems like an idea maybe I could get down with.
I don't see how Tom gets back in a jet and shoots down fighter pilots anymore. I just don't see I love that, but I don't know how you can make that into a story at this point, right? Like, what's he going to do? Unless you make him admiral of the Pacific Fleet, like after Iceman's death, but I don't think he's in that position story-wise.
But I guess
so that doesn't make sense.
If I played devil's advocate, did we really think Top Gun Maverick was going to be what it was either? I mean,
that's okay. That's a great counterpoint. But
also, I mean, we probably shouldn't like test the waters too much.
Exactly. I think it was lightning in a bottle, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
All right, what next story got for you? I want to hear your opinion, yay or nay, for this. This is a one-liner. David Bruckner to direct a reimagining of The Blob, which I think is like a 50s monster movie.
Yeah,
it might have had a couple of adaptations.
Made in the 50s. I think there's a sequel to that one, and then they remade it again in the 80s. Actually, I can give released in 1958 and stars Steve McQueen in his first leading role. Larry Hagman remade the film in 1972's Beware the Blob, and Chuck Russell directed the second remake in 1988. Chuck Russell actually directed A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. I love that movie. We've talked about it a lot on here.
Classic, definitely.
But I know how you. So I actually liked The Night House. I thought that was a really good movie. I was indifferent on David Bruckner's Hellraiser.
Did he do 2022?
Yeah, he did that. And
he did The Ritual from 2017. I was needed to know where I know this name from. I love The Ritual. Yeah. And he did a segment of VHS as well.
VHS. So like he's been more hit than miss, I think. I didn't love Hellraiser. But
nor did I. I don't even know if I liked it.
But it feels like something that if it needed to be remade or reimagined, the last one was in 1988. I guess now would be a good time to do it. I'm not totally against it. I'm also not like a big Blob stan or something. So I can't really. I'm not the dog in the fight, really.
Yeah, I've never seen any the Blob properties at all. However, my initial thoughts to this are actually kind of positive. I think this could be a movie that like maybe it doesn't Well, I think we're going on 40 years between the last movie. Like I think that's kind of cool to reimagine and bring back to modern audiences and maybe inspire people to watch the original, because I know the 50s version is in its, has its own merits. I've never seen it,
Yeah.
but Steve McQueen first leading role, that's pretty cool for film history.
Yeah. It also became a huge cult classic for its effective visual effects and B horror aesthetic. In case you guys don't know what it's about, it tells the story of an amorphous alien life form that descends upon a rural Pennsylvania town and begins consuming anyone it comes into contact with. The alien, an expanding mass of red material, grows as it eats it and is strong enough to pull human victims into itself from all directions. There for a long time, the cover art for the 1988 remake used to scare me because it's just like a picture, I guess, of the Blob and like a human face that looked like it's trying to come out of it.
That's pretty cool.
And the guy has like red eye. It's like a really freaky looking poster. That was like my one exposure to. I think I saw the 88 one like a long time ago when I was a kid. But I've never really revisited it at all since then.
I want to give it the benefit of the doubt. I don't necessarily know if this will be their approach. It definitely should be, but go practical over CGI. If they make it practically, effects wise, I think that could be a recipe for success, and it would, be a creative challenge too. But we'll see, I suppose. I don't really know much about David Bruckner's approach to effects, but I hope he leans practically, because that would be really cool. Definitely harder than to do it on CGI with computers, but
agreed.
I guess we'll see.
We'll see. I don't see it on here, but I'm just gonna go just real quick on the horror train, keep it going a little bit, which was Danny Boyle and Alex Garland are doing a sequel to 28 Days Later.
Yes.
And officially teaming up for a sequel to it. Boyle and Garland. So Boyle directed the first one, and Garland wrote the first film. They're re-teaming for 28 Years Later, a new zombie thriller that is expected to hit studios, streamers, and other potential buyers later this week. So that was last week when this news dropped. The hope is that it's the start of a new trilogy, according to reports. Now there is already a follow-up to 28 Days Later called 28 Weeks Later, which actually starred Jeremy Renner in one of his like earlier roles.
And Rose Byrne as well.
Yeah, as well. Not bad either. I actually like 28 Weeks Later.
More of an American movie, but it's
it's very
definitely
definitely Hollywoodized.
Big time. But it's fun. The helicopter sequence is sick.
Yeah. For this new trilogy, they're looking at a budget for each movie that would be in the $75 million range for each movie.
Okay.
And Boyle is attached to direct the first installment, and Garland will be writing all three as well.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Well, differently than if you had asked me that 2 minutes ago, because only now am I realizing that it's a planned trilogy, because of fucking course it is. Like, can't just make one movie these days. Like, this has been a long talked about sequel, like since Weeks came out, like in what, 2008 or whatever, 2007.
2007, yeah.
So like, that is awesome that it's being made. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy to see that being made. And it's just kind of cool to see something that's been talked about on the internet for so long actually be in development. And for both Danny Boyle and Alex Garland to partner up on it is pretty neat too. I love Danny Boyle as a director, and I love Alex Garland as both a writer and director. But a trilogy, like, there's another story that we're going to be getting to in a minute that is going to completely prove why that's a terrible idea.
Why you don't plan ahead like that. Like,
don't put the carriage in front of the horse. Like, do a movie at a time. I don't know why this is catching steam and being such a trend.
They get so trigger happy especially when they get to write something. They like,
you don't even know if there's a market for this anymore.
And by the way, there's nothing wrong with mapping out a long-term story, because
of course,
if like fans who are familiar with Scream, at least the original ones, Kevin Williamson had like an outline at least for what would have been 3 movies. Now that concept changed over time,
right?
But like when he wrote Scream, he actually wrote treatments for Scream 2 and Scream 3, but not as like a, it's different. Like, you have that idea in your head, and if that movie is a hit, then like you have a treatment for your sequel. You're like, hey, I have this idea. Now that this movie has come out, it's done its business, I can focus now on making the sequel and then this third film. You don't just like announce out the gate like, hey, we're going to make 3 of these, and not knowing how people are going to even feel about your first movie.
Right.
So that was my concern too when I heard even though I think Danny Boyle and Alex Garland are in a better position than this other person that we'll talk about later,
Right.
in that
Agreed.
regard. But I agree with you. Hollywood, they get ahead of themselves.
It seems like the new trend in the 2010s. It was the break the third part of the trilogy into 2 movies trend, and now we're getting a trilogy before you even have one movie made.
Well, it's like
trend.
studios are like thinking it on like they think about this long-term financial plan, like, oh, how long will this, especially when they grab the IP that they just get it, right? If they just purchased it, like, oh, like, well, how can we, how can we leverage this out across like this many years, across this much merchandise? Like, and that was the thing with the other movie we're gonna talk about later, is that it was more than just those movies. It was also merchandising and theme parks, and like they were thinking all that stuff before they even thought about like putting like pen to paper on the first movie.
Yeah, exactly. Also, like the 2010s were honestly, like, no secret to say that they were the renaissance of the zombie subgenre, and I think it was honestly kind of done to death by the end of the decade. That's not to say there's not still good zombie movies that you can be made, but I don't think like it has this 9-figure box office return hope that it did a few short years ago. Like, I think zombies are not necessarily in vogue anymore. I'm so excited for the movie, but like a trilogy is such a gamble, and I just don't know. I hope they allocate the resources nice. Give us 28 years later. Like,
years later,
yeah.
Give us one. And why are we skipping? Well, yeah. Why are we skipping months? Months.
Well, I think it lines up with how long it's been.
Yeah, I guess so. But I would just be fine. I'd be fine with one movie, and
all right.
We'll see.
After teasing you guys on this other story, may as well get right into it next. This next article is David Gordon Green has now exited the sequel to his Exorcist movie from last year. So this next one was The Exorcist Deceiver. He is no longer in the director's chair. I guess the movie's still going forward. Is that still right? It's not been canned completely?
It's going forward, but they undated it. They took it off the release calendar. It was supposed to come out. It was supposed to come out April 18th, 2025, and they replaced it with the Michael Jackson biopic that's being directed by Antoine Fuqua. That's actually a Lionsgate movie, but Universal is handling the international release, so that's why they gave it that date. They politely in the trade said that it's because David Gordon Green is very busy doing his movie Nutcrackers with Ben Stiller, and also working on season 4 of HBO's The Righteous Gemstones. But smart people will probably understand that Exorcist Deceiver or a Believer got a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it was a box office catastrophe.
It made $65 million domestically, $136.2 million globally. Now you're thinking like, hey, it only cost $30 million to make, but they bought the rights. They bought the rights for $400 million. Right. So they need to think of a long-term plan on how that's going to be worth it in the end. Now, keep in mind, Halloween 2018 opened to like $76 million. That was the opening weekend. Right. The Exorcist Believer finaled at 65 here in the States. So that can just show you the difference between those two properties. I always thought when they bought the Exorcist property, I was like, it's not going to perform like Halloween. They're different.
Yeah.
Like Halloween. 100%. Exorcist is one really great movie, one sequel that's a fan favorite, the third one, and then the rest are
shit.
Garbage. But you got that TV show. You got the TV show that's really good, which I wish would have lasted longer. But it's not the same. And I think they kind of like they saw Morgan Creek selling their rights, and they were like, "Oh, let's get it, and we can turn this into the hit like we did with Halloween." And I don't want to completely shit on David Gordon Green. There are a lot of people when this news dropped, they were like, "Well, good riddance," because he ruined Halloween and he ruined The Exorcist. But you know what? In 2018, a lot of us weren't saying that he ruined Halloween. A lot of people, it got good reviews.
Yeah, you're right.
And like it was well received. I like Halloween Kills. Jackson is on set.
I liked it more. Yeah, I liked it more than I saw it in theaters. Like the Michael Muckage is awesome in that movie. And I let you guys down. I did not finish the trilogy this year, like I said I would. I still
will this Halloween,
so I can throw some chairs and justify. But I'll give you that. Like 2018's Halloween and a lot of Kills is it's
fun.
It's good. It's fun. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
You
want to
were
actually say
you're
good.
like,
Like,
you didn't want to say good. You're like,
it's
no, I'm not saying good.
feasible. But
The
yeah,
last
it's fun.
15 minutes are
There's
solid.
goodness sprinkled throughout those movies. It's just as a whole suffers from a lot of things. But you're right, he's not complete garbage. I can't forgive him for what he's done to this Exorcist movie, though. I think this is the right move. Love or hate him, he shouldn't be making it.
Yeah, and also like I wish the concept their big concept was to like just have like two girls be possessed. And I was like, all right, that you gotta give us more than that. And they kind of shoehorned Ellen Burstyn in there, and like I mean, and when you see them, I mean, you haven't seen it yet, right? I mean, when you see the movie, when you see the movie, it's a travesty what they did to Ellen Burstyn. It was just a waste of her time.
Oh, I know the line that she has that's infamous about the damn patriarchy. I know what I need to know about her role in that movie.
Yeah,
but
I think they funded one some school that she is associated with.
Yeah, exactly. I know why she took it. Good for her.
So yeah, there's at least that. So I was like, all right.
She didn't need that movie. She took it and took advantage of it, which is great for her.
Well, that movie, garbage, a pile of stinking garbage. Like spoiler alert, it'll be on my least favorite list of 2023.
Perfect.
But I don't know who can. A lot of people. I haven't watched the movie yet, and I know you told me to watch it because you said it was good. Someone said they need to pick up the director from When Evil Lurks to do The Exorcist Deceiver. That name got spread around a lot. When they found out that he wasn't directing it.
That is a great pairing because you didn't see it yet. You said that's right.
No, I finally got it at home, and I just haven't watched it yet. But I plan on it.
When you're thinking of treating yourself to like a good, scary possession story, I'm sure that you will not be disappointed. That When Evil Lurks is one of my favorites from 2023. Certainly one of the better horror movies. I think it actually surpassed Talk to Me in my personal list. But I'll let you decide. It was fantastic. To watch it now. And I really think that he would be an amazing pairing. I think he could breathe new life into this Exorcist sequel. I would actually love to see that.
Yeah,
I did not hear that jabber.
Yeah, doing that. Damien Rugna is his name. He also wrote When Evil Lurks. Yeah, that name got tossed around. People were like quote tweeting the headline of David Gordon Green getting exiting the project, and they were like, "Please, everybody, Universal, call him right now, like get him to direct your movie because like it seems like a perfect fit." And I'll probably maybe feel the same way after I watch it, like, oh, that maybe it should be that guy. David Gordon Green was never the right person for it.
No,
and like but it also comes down to the writing. The script was horrible too. I mean, I like you said, and this is why we mentioned you don't plan ahead because they planned this trilogy, like 3 movies for this, and the first one was a dumpster fire, and now they got to find a new director to lead the second planned movie. They got time. I mean, it's supposed to come out. There's no date anymore, so they have time to do some creative retooling. And I don't even know I wonder if they'll just reshape what they had planned, like if they're not even going to go with like their original ideas for what this trilogy was.
I hope they don't.
and just pivot into something new.
Pivot. That's I think all that they can really do right now. Completely, redesign the idea there.
But I wasn't disappointed when I heard it. I mean, I do feel bad for people shitting on him because 2018 we liked him.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I think that's part of that's part of what you sign on for when you're going to make art like that. So I mean, he'll come back, he'll rebound. If it's not next year, it'll be the year after. So whatever. True. What's next?
Well, as we said, The Exorcist Deceiver was undated from its release date, and another movie that I actually was looking forward to and was on my most anticipated 2024 list. I feel like I can maybe still keep it there because I think they might release it before the end of the year, but we don't know yet.
Let's hope.
Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17, which was his follow-up to his Oscar-winning Parasite, was supposed to come out on April 12th. Is no longer going to come out on that date. It was pulled from the date. Instead, we're going to get Godzilla.
We got.
Oh, actually, you know what? Sorry. It's going to come out on March 20th. It was going to come out March 20th, and now Godzilla X Kong is going to come out on that date. They moved that up from April 12th to compensate for the. Everyone wants that. There's a lot of speculation as to why they delayed it. They said there still needs to be work done on it because of the strikes. Maybe that's what delayed it. Other people are trying to be more hopeful. Maybe they want it's so good that they're saving it for a festival season, which would be fall. So I was pretty bummed when I heard the news. I was really looking forward to it because I really love Parasite and wanted to see what he did next. And
Have you seen many of his other movies, Bong Joon-ho?
actually, I haven't. I've actually only seen Parasite.
Ooh. You know what you should watch here soon? Memories of Murder. It's like his version of Zodiac, but even though it came out before Zodiac, it's from 2003, I believe. One of the finest Korean movies, which is pigeonholing a little bit as far as like murder mysteries over long periods of time subgenres go. One of the finest, but I think that you would really, really like him. That movie of his, The Host too, is a more conventional monster movie that he made, which is great too. Bong Joon-ho is the man. I was really disappointed when that was I'm a little suspicious why it was just not just given a new release date immediately, and it's kind of ominous that it's undated. That worries me a bit. I like, and I'm hoping and keeping both fingers crossed that it like what you said, that they're going to target it for a like awards season release in the fall, award season release. So that would be great. As long as it comes out this year, whatever, that's fine, because it's on my list too of top anticipated. But yeah,
I didn't even know if I could keep it on my list now. I was like, oh, is it still a 2024 movie or?
Yeah, that's something we got to discuss. What's also annoying is we only have, for about a year now, we only have the one image from that movie as marketing, and it's that image of Robert Pattinson upside down on like what looks like an MRI machine or something, and it's like, give us something, give us a teaser.
Remember when we only had that one image from Killers of the Flower Moon that was like Lily Gladstone and Leonardo DiCaprio sitting next to each other?
True.
Him grimacing for like I felt like over a year. Before they released other stuff from that. In case people don't know at least it's based on the novel Mickey 7. And they say that it follows Mickey 17, an expendable who is a disposable employee on a human expedition sent to colonize the ice world Nilfheim. After one iteration dies, a new body is regenerated with most of his memories intact. The movie stars Robert Pattinson, Naomi Ackie, Stephen Young, Toni Collette, and Mark Ruffalo. That's a really good cast.
Oh my god, what a cast!
And we not getting it until hopefully by fall. I hope they date it again soon.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Oh, here's one interested to see. I think I overlooked this one earlier. We got a couple news articles here related to the casting of some directors' upcoming movies, starting with on the note of Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm pivoting here. This isn't what I even was going to lead with, but Leonardo DiCaprio, two-time Oscar winner Sean Penn, and Regina Hall are leading Paul Thomas Anderson's next film, and this is his first movie from Licorice Pizza 2021. I think that's his last one.
After Licorice Pizza. Yeah. And this is going to be made with Warner Brothers. So it was like two good news story weeks for Warner Brothers to like get Tom Cruise on their lot, and then also have a Paul Thomas Anderson project on their.
That's fantastic. He's one of my favorite directors.
Not much is known about it except it's filming in California this year. They said it is the most commercial of his movies to date, and so far the budget is looking like that's $100 million. Would be the biggest budget he's worked with.
Okay.
But it's a very contemporary story as well. Is that what they're also saying?
Right.
But nothing else is known to that. But I love the cast. I mean, like Leonardo DiCaprio and Sean Penn, we know are great. Regina Hall is someone who is really good in comedy and drama. She doesn't get a lot of credit for some of the drama that she does because she's known a lot for like the scary movies. And
I was struggling to think of where I know her from, but yes,
and like right. Girls Trip and like Think Like a Man. She does a lot of those movies, but she also is a solid dramatic actress. A lot of people were shouting her out when this news started. Like, hey, we already know that they're good, but like they're really looking forward to like seeing her work with a director that will probably pull a lot out of her. And this feels like when it comes out would be an award season movie if it's good because of the pedigree behind it. And this is going to be a big ensemble movie too. They said even though these are the three leads, that he plans on casting a lot of people in smaller roles. It's supposed to be like a large ensemble film. So I wish I knew more about what it was about, but
I can't wait. I know there's a lot of speculation, at least on like the Instagram posts I follow that broke this news. I can't remember for the life of me now, like the contents or the name of the book that people thought this was going to be adapting. And I think the contemporary setting has kind of debunked that, because I think this book that people are speculating he is adapting is not contemporarily set. But I think that could be a red herring. Who knows at this point? I don't know why people seem to think he's adapting this book. I wish I
don't know
knew
either.
it, but anyway, we'll see.
Also,
enough.
one of those rare directors I think that's ever made a bad movie. I didn't love Licorice Pizza, but I thought it was good. So I don't think he's ever made a bad one. Like I love Magnolia. Magnolia is like Boogie Nights and Magnolia.
I haven't seen Magnolia yet.
Really? Oh man! Also, if you want like a great Tom Cruise performance, there you go.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, Boogie Nights and Magnolia. I love this in my probably in my top 20. Those two movies are really, really good. But yeah, I'm looking forward to though. It's a good cast, and this will be Leonardo DiCaprio's next project after Killers of the Family. I think that's what he's going to work on.
Oh, great, awesome.
So that's really cool as well. Wish we knew more about the movie, but I know some people were worried about the budget and it being too commercial. But I got faith in him. I think it'll turn out just fine. Let's see what else do we got here. Oh well, I guess I'll go with this. I'll go with. There's not much to say about Fast 11.
Right.
And we've talked about these movies a lot, and there's the last one had a $350 million budget, but it, as you know, when Jackson was listening, like on one episode, like some of the movies that had these big budgets that didn't break even, or that was one of the movies we talked about. It didn't do that well domestically, but I think it made over $700 million because it is still a big worldwide movie. But rumor has it that they want them to it's still go back to basics, like more in line with the first movie. They want to have one big heist or one big race, and they want them to spend $200 million on the movie or less. Okay. And even though Vin Diesel teased like, oh, we're gonna do like maybe it's gonna be like a 2-parter, we're gonna do more of these, and there might they don't know if that's gonna be the case anymore. They don't know if Jason Momoa is coming back because he's expensive, and they want to keep the budget down.
I heard that he's not coming back, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe
which doesn't make a lick of sense, because if you saw Fast 10, it ended on a cliffhanger. He's that character, that villain that he played. By the way, the best thing about the movie, right? And he very much alive at the end. And it ends on a really big, explosive, not $200 million movie cliffhanger. I don't know how they're gonna like do this. If
I don't know.
Is true.
Yeah, it makes sense. But don't you remember when we talked
about? About Fast X, when we talked about Fast X, when you were when that movie was coming out, weren't they talking about that, trying to go back to basics and it being more in line with like a little bit more, and it wasn't. Just so you know, I know you see it,
that was their plan, but like, yeah, definitely is not. I think it's on the one hand, it makes sense that they need to scale back after the definitely. I'm guessing the Fast X was a financial loss to some capacity with a budget that sizable.
Yeah, and then with marketing and all that too.
Yeah, like that
lost money.
So it makes sense, but just not a good time for the series to scale back, especially like with this cliffhanger that they are teasing. I also think it's a little bit late in the game to go back to basics and kind of model your movie after the first one at your 11th main series entry. Like there's 12, I guess, if you include Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I
don't know either. Just so you know, this is a case of diminishing returns. It made $146 million domestically, which is way off from what they've been grossing, and then $704 million worldwide, which kind of softened the blow a little bit. But still, when
it should have been $1 billion movie easily.
Yeah, and there was also we don't know anymore too. There was plans for like The Rock Hobbs to have his own little spin-off Fast movie again, because they did tease him at the end of Fast 10, and they also teased the return of Gal Gadot in Fast 10. I don't know how they're going to decide who's worthy of coming back, if they want to keep the budget down. I think Jason Momoa probably would be a casualty, and that's a shame because he was the best thing about the last movie. He was the only one having fun. But like you said, I don't think it's too late to go back to basics now.
I don't know if we'll ever see the end of this series. I think this is gonna go forever at this point. So whatever.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah,
and I guess do we have one more thing?
We do. It depends on what you want it to be.
Oh, okay, I'll let you do it.
Okay, I was saying there's a couple of things. Just I'll choose this one randomly. Fans of X and Pearl, and even Mia Goth in general as an actress, who is definitely, I think it's safe to say she's she's been on the rise for a few years now. I think she's still riding that high, but in case you haven't heard this week, she's being sued, and similarly, the studio, I believe it's A24, is also being sued by an extra that claims she intentionally kicked him in the head during the filming of a scene while they're filming Maxine, which is slated to come out later this year. It's a prequel to X and Pearl from 2022. And it sounds kind of nasty. He alleged that he was kind of bullied off the set and then asked not to return the following day for filming. And I think he's suing for assault and wrongful termination, if I read all that correctly.
Yeah.
So that's not good news for them.
Not good news. His name is James Hunter. He's a background actor. The lawsuit says that he laid in the dirt for several hours, enduring ants and mosquitoes during a scene in which Goth was supposed to step over him. After a few takes playing a dead parishioner, he alleges Goth was warned about being nearly stepping on him. The filing on the Superior Court of California County, Los Angeles states, in the following take, defendant Goth intentionally kicked plaintiff in his head with her boot. The kick in the head caused plaintiff to immediately experience headache and stiffness in his neck. Hunter says he reported the incident and was told filming would continue. Following the shoot ending, he alleges Goth laughed at him in the bathroom and after removing his costume, left for the day. He claims the next day he was banned from the film set and was diagnosed a few days later with a concussion at a hospital in California. He says that he has continued to suffer symptoms of head trauma, including disorientation, vertigo, migraines, nightmares, and severe emotional distress.
Okay.
I'm
not trying to discount. Like, I don't know if this is even real or not, but like, I don't know. If this is real, that's horrible.
They always pile it on when they sue someone.
I know, and like he very well might be experiencing those things. I have no idea. Like I don't know if I even like bother to lean into either side of this. This is complete like just hearsay at this point. But like until you said severe emotional distress, there'd already been like 6 different things. Okay, that's the first I'd heard of that exact, so that caught me off guard. But hopefully not true. I mean, it would be shameful for some extra to randomly make up this, tarnishing story for an up and coming, superstar. But if true, not good. Shame on her.
When I've heard the story, I was like, hey, I don't think it's true. But then I was like, looking at her, not to like make assumptions on, because she seems like she could be wild. She could be wild. I was like, I would be surprised.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell. And like,
but fame does something to people.
And I don't think she said anything yet regarding said allegations.
That will be telling if she just says it's frivolous bullshit or if she makes an apology. Who knows?
And that is not the Maxine news that we wanted to hear. We wanted a trailer. We didn't want Mia Goth kicking someone in the head allegedly. No, that's not nearly as fun. As,
will that take make it into the final cut? Stay tuned. Whenever this movie drops, probably not.
Exactly. And I'm gonna mention the Scream story only because I said I would shout out a page called Critical Overlord, who is always really right with Scream dirt. Basically.
Okay. Oh yes.
So as you know, we've ran it down already. There's a lot going on with Scream. Melissa Barrera got fired for sharing social media posts about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and then Jenna Ortega departed the movie the next day, citing schedule conflicts. But then it was reported that she wanted more money, and Spyglass wanted to give her more money. Christopher Landon also left as director, saying that it was his dream job that turned to a nightmare. But in the midst of all this, they've been still trying to get Neve Campbell back. And she was at a BAFTA event where she said, these movies mean a lot to us and they mean a lot to fans. I go to these conventions sometimes and I meet the fans and they're frantic about these films. They love them. This means a lot to them and these characters mean a lot to them. So even for their sake, I would love to see it continue. And then they asked her to basically kind of comment on, hey, like, are you paying attention to what's going on with currently with the franchise? And she said, I know things are spinning at the moment. I would imagine they are spinning at the top, trying to figure out what they're going to do. I would not be surprised to get the call, but at the same time, I made a strong statement a few years ago, which is I did not believe that the way that I was treated would have happened if I had been male, and that I deserve a certain thing for having carried this franchise for as long as I have. And she also says, I just want them to do the right thing. Now, some people are like, younger fans are upset because they think the right thing for her is like she wants more money and they think that she doesn't care about what happened with Melissa Barrera and all that stuff, right? But Critical Overlord on Twitter has not been wrong about a lot of Scream scoop, and he says with pretty good authority that one of the things that she wants Spyglass to get right is to meet with Melissa Barrera again and make that situation right, other than just making her adding her back into the mix. You know, I think we talked about this before. Like the franchise is in such disarray now that I don't really want it the way it is now.
Not the way it is now, no.
But part of me wants Nev Campbell just to stay away from it because it feels like it's a sinking ship. But if they can make it right, if they can like have a come to Jesus moment with Melissa Barrera and then have like another come to Jesus moment about paying Nev Campbell her worth, and then maybe Jenna Ortega comes back because she's not as busy, or they pay her worth.
Yeah,
maybe I could see it, but there's so many variables that I don't even know. Yeah.
I don't know one way or another, like what to put my stock in as to what will actually happen. I'll just end by saying it's a shame. It will be a shame if the studio allows their desire to keep these movies smaller budgeted to lose out on what could be the end of a great series if they pump out another movie, especially with this cast. And it'll be like an impossible feat at this point with where the series is at. But if they can somehow bring it together and get everyone singing Kumbaya and make another movie, then all the power to them. I hope that's what happens, like so that Scream doesn't go out on this note. But I don't know that I'm that optimistic about that happening from what we've heard about from the producers. I don't remember his name, but the one that's like, we don't need them to be expensive, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I forgot his name too.
Whatever.
He is the head of Spyglass Media Group that they own the rights. So he's the one being cheap, I guess, not wanting to pay these girls what they're worth. But yeah, franchise still in limbo, but they wanted to point that out because some of the younger fans are like kind of attacking Nev Campbell. Like this is the most toxic fandom. I thought like Star Wars and Marvel was bad, but like the Scream fans are pretty bad when they don't get
attacking Nev Campbell. Like I thought she'd be the one that they would idolize.
Well, they think that she only cares about herself right now, like about getting her worth and all that. And they're like, you should have stood with Melissa when they fired her and like blah blah blah. But they have no idea what these people are doing behind the scenes. Like, I don't think Nev Campbell doesn't seem like someone that's like, well, screw her, I'm just gonna sign on to this project anyway. Because like if she sees how they treat someone unfairly, she's like, well, they do this. They already did it to her. They already treated her unfairly. So like she knows and she's fully aware. So I think that is the case with that. But again, the franchise is still in limbo.
Definitely.
Unfortunately. So I wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, definitely glad we did. I guess that would bring us last but not least to box office. So we predicted Mean Girls last week, and I guess we got to find out how we did. Let's see our numbers here. You went. I don't know the numbers yet. I know you have those. It was tracking at 27.
I know the numbers, and I don't know who to call the winner on this because it's I'll let you decide because it's
okay. Let's see, because I know our font just before you get to the numbers. Tracking increase. I remember you messaging me throughout the week. It was tracking at 27 million, then it was increased to 30.
To 30, yeah.
Which is what I guessed. So we both guessed above original tracking. Okay, but how did it actually do?
The 3-day total was $28.6 million.
And you would go on 28.
I did. The 4-day total, counting them in the Martin Luther King holiday, is $33.2 million. So, I mean,
okay. I can say we're both right.
I'm cool with calling it a draw.
Yeah.
And we both get this one. Or if you're like, hey, no, we said 4-day proper. Like
no, because I feel like if I were in either shoes, I would want to be the right one. And I think that's impossible. Yeah. I think that makes sense for both of us.
All right, so we will officially draw it. So week 1, we both got one. Both get it right.
Nice. Okay, we're gonna keep score over the year.
We're gonna keep it tally. We're gonna keep it tally throughout the box office year. The good news for that movie is it $33.2 million 4-day opening weekend. $36 million budget. They hid the fact that it was a musical. It worked. They said 75% of the audience knew it was before they went to go buy a ticket, but the other 16%.
How do they know that?
Paramount said they I don't know how they said that they
like no, you
polled
didn't.
people, and that 16% said that they didn't know and they were disappointed that it was a musical. There are some funny videos online with people filming the movie, which you shouldn't do on your phone.
Right.
But filming it and being like when they burst in the song early in the movie, being like, "Oh, what the hell?" Like we didn't know it was gonna be a musical. But it worked. It worked, and we have our first big hit of the year. I kind of wonder if it's gonna reach. I think the original movie made $84 million domestic. We're gonna talk about what the movie will hold in week 2. But overall, that is really good news. Also, good news for the Beekeeper: $16 million opening weekend, $19 million 4-day. I didn't think that was going to do well at all.
Okay,
good for you, Jason Statham. Yeah, that's all I can really say on that. And then Wonka continued to hold well. It officially passed $500 million worldwide. So that is a big hit for Timothy Chalamet. And just to get other people's box office predictions. David Park said 23, or my friend David, $23 million for Mean Girls. Scarlett Oscara 666, $35 million. So she was pretty close.
Okay. Yeah.
Darren Movie Reviews, $35 million. Merc with the movie is $32 million domestic on the nose. So he was pretty.
Attaboy.
Yeah. Drew Review 77, $28 million. Jord Kin, $20 million. I think I have a couple more. Movies with Mr. Mario, he played it safe with $30 to $35 million.
Okay.
And yeah, so that was our last people that threw in their predictions as well.
Thank you for doing that, guys.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm gonna make it a point to keep doing that, so like more of you will do it and make it consistent. So weekend 2, because there's nothing really coming out this weekend, so we're gonna do Mean Girls again. As impressive as the opening weekend is, there's a lot of factors in here. Yeah, people who saw it this weekend, some didn't know it was going to be a musical, and maybe that turned them off. There's also a big, I think, for people that knew it was a big kind of fan rush to go see it opening weekend. I saw it at a screening. It was actually really good. It was pretty funny.
Okay.
And then the music's not. Some of the music doesn't hit, but some of it is pretty good. This is supposed to go straight to streaming, and they changed their mind at the last minute after a positive test screening, so they're probably really happy they released this theatrically. But I can also see this being very front loaded and dropping, and most movies drop a bit after a holiday weekend.
Right.
So what do you think in weekend 2 this movie is going to gross?
See, okay. This is the first time I've ever had to guess a second week. I don't know what a normal drop would be considering all the variables here. So I guess I'm going to randomly put out a number that's going to more than likely be incredibly off and go with.
Well, do you want to know how much? It might not be fair, but do you want to know what Mean Girls dropped in 2004, like when that in its second?
I mean, I don't even know if I think that's gonna have any bearing on.
It might even it might even be comparable. You're right, because they're completely different. But to throw it at you, it dropped 44% to
44.
It opened to $24.4 million and grossed $13.6 million in its second weekend.
Okay, I don't know. Part of me wants to think that's gonna drop significantly because it's front loaded, but then also there's not much else releasing, so like that might give people that lots of people don't go see movies opening weekend, so that'll give audiences a chance to go catch it. So I think it's going to rake in somewhere around, I'm going to say 18 million.
All right, I'm going to go a little lower than you.
Okay,
I'm going to go 16.
Okay, that's still okay. I don't feel as bad about my guess. It's in the ballpark.
Hit, though. I mean, yeah, still a big hit too. Like we needed one right now because Night Swim dropped 60% in its second weekend, guys.
Jesus, good. Couldn't drop lower. That movie belongs in the deep end.
You're like couldn't happen to a better movie.
No, exactly. You still haven't ended up seeing it. Eh?
I still haven't seen it. No. Well, I'm scared because it's not worth my time.
It's really not, honestly. If I would advise you to stay away from it, I don't know. Do with that information what you will. You could definitely spend that time watching a better movie. I'd watch the short like 20 times to make up the length of the runtime.
For the length of that one movie.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Yeah. All right. So 16
All
million
right.
and 18 million. We will tune in next week and see how Mean Girls dropped and see who was winning. I guess that'll be our second box office of the year.
Yeah, and our first time doing this for a second weekend.
Yeah.
So
hopefully it doesn't happen that often. It's nice when there's new
I
releases
would rather have
yeah.
new releases. This
But
is just a consequence of how movies got pushed back and delayed and switched around. So
right.
January and early February are going to be pretty rough. But yeah, looking forward to it. I'm glad this movie did well too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We really needed it too, and I think it kind of rode a little bit of that Barbie wave too. I think that kind of like the marketing was very similar. It got a lot of girls to go.
Lean into your demographic. That's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long you can hide. I mean, Wicked comes out this year. They can't hide that that's a musical. I don't know how long they're gonna hide that these movies are actually like full blown musicals.
Just embrace it.
Bait and switch marketing is ridiculous. All right. Well, I guess that's episode 144. Episode 144, right?
Attaboy.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us for episode 144. We went through a lot of news today, and even though we wanted to keep it like relatively short, I still think we did pretty good considering all the stuff that we had to talk about today. And I think we got through all of it except for something about Selena Gomez. Well, maybe we'll bring it up later
exactly
in a future episode. But thank you guys for listening. We have a few more great episodes planned for you. Right after we hop off of this one, we're actually going to be recording our most anticipated for 2024, but also it's Jackson's 1 year anniversary episode as well. So we're going to be doing that and putting all the attention on him because that's what he wants. Not really. But yeah, we're going to be doing that one very shortly. And then we also have a really good physical media episode that we're really excited about doing that we're going to be recording next week. That's kind of going to be more of a maybe like interview style. That'll be really fun to dive into, especially in the current state of physical media. We had one at the end of 2022 before Jackson was a regular, and physical media was in a rough spot then, and it seems like it's in a really interesting place now with stuff like Oppenheimer selling well, but then Best Buy not selling physical media anymore. So it'll be really cool to pick their brain and their thoughts on that. And then we also have our first anniversary episode for Varsity Blues that we'll be recording on the 29th. So you have that to look forward to. But in the meantime, if you want to continue to listen to us, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods. But we have to shout out Playlist Studios because they are our podcast network and they have their very own app that you can get in the Google Play Store. Or if you're like most of us with Apple iPhones, please go to the iOS store and get the Playlist Studio app. They have other great shows on their platform as well. And yeah, I think that's it, buddy. We got through a really packed news show, our first big news show of the year. I think we did really well.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for keeping up, Jackson. Thank you for also allowing me to keep up with you. And I will see you shortly.
Yeah. See you in the next episode, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.